Thank you everyone for joining today Zoom seminar. And this seminar is for our face-to-face course on November. And before we start, I'd like to give a little bit brief introduction about the company and about Dr. Ho. And before I pass control to him. And I believe the live and work for the benefit of the all mankind is most important. I guess, doing this business and working together, working for customer is most important for us. And we do provide a digital dentistry solution basis product. And also we do have digital workshop to show the product and try and run, but also because of the workshop, we can provide online manufacturing service and building service or 3D printing service. We do have scanners and softwares to design crown, design models for aligner, or we do have milling machine to deliver chair sides or more precision crowns, but also we do have 3D printers. And also with the Dr. Micro, we are providing in-office clear aligner training course together with the ortho planning. And in the future, I'd like to go for the digital dentistry expert course about design, printing, or milling. And you can, I will leave the contact detail of us, and you can contact us all the time. Before I go, and I'd like to show a little bit about the website. And the website, there is a section for news and updates, and there is a course about adaptive orthodontics that will be held in 21st of November in Sydney. And now we are doing third of the previous seminar, and we'll have 2 more preview Zoom seminar. And after that, we are going to do 1-day course with Dr. Michael Ho. He's going to cover more detail about attachment and design and software. And in the end, most important thing is how to manage the cases, how to produce the aligners in more practical way in your practice. And please come to the website and take a look at the course detail. And if you do have any question, and please let me know. And before I pass before I give the control to Dr. Mike Ho, and let me introduce Dr. Ho. Dr. Ho has been practicing dentistry for over 3 decades. After receiving his Bachelor of Dental Science from University of Sydney, Dr. Ho began practicing in NSW in 1991. Although Dr. Ho is experienced in all aspects of dentistry, he has special interest in new dental technology, short-term orthodontics and dental implant, laser, and cosmetic dentistry. He believes strongly in continuing education and is also a clinical trainer for dental implant and CAD/CAM technology in Australia. Now I am going to stop sharing my screen, and Dr. O, you can bring up your screen.
Yep. There you go. Are we there?
There you go. Yes, we can see you.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
Good.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. You just mentioned that we've been practicing for 30 years, Owen. I feel old.
Oh, yeah, old now. We're so old.
We're just matured. All right. So today we're talking about in-house sequential aligners. Basically, to produce these things in-house, it's much more practical than you think. The problem I believe that you're going to have, if you're doing sequential aligners at all, it's a bit of a no-brainer to go down this path. Just to let you know, I work in a Bupa practice. I sold my practice to Bupa. So a lot of the cost control comes into play. And, when I was setting up doing this thing, the business manager was saying, oh, you know, what are you spending all this money on? I said, well, actually, you add up the sums. And I said, I have spent less than one Invisalign case. That's less than $3,000. I've set up enough of the printing and everything, and I've already done more than 20 cases. That shut everybody up, and I just kept going from there. So this is a very, very practical way to do sequential aligners now. Now, by no means am I saying it's an easy way, because you now do your own work, but it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. So let's just quickly just introduce yourself, the whole setup. Yeah, there's a flow control starts, of course, with the acquisition of digital models. If most of you don't have this, you should just scan intraorally. But if you don't, you can still take your analog impression, and the labs, in which case Kevin's lab, can actually scan it for you. But I would strongly advise, guys, if you're not doing this yet, please do. This is the way you have to do dentistry in the future. Sequential aligners, intraoral scanning. Once you master it, you can do more scanning than you can with your analog method. It's not the other way around. We used to think, oh, it's easier to just slap an impression material. It's not. There are some cases that you cannot do with the analog way, but you can do it using sequential aligners. Others are using intraoral scanners. It doesn't really matter which scanner you have, but I have some favorite ones, which I'll tell you about, at some other forum. But Kevin actually sells one of my favorite ones, so you can ask him about it. And then the main body of thrust of my presentation is this software called Autoline. It is the reason why we are able to do what we am able to do. Long before this came along, I was already doing this using a one of those open source software called Blue Sky Bio. Blue Sky Bio was good, but made you really think about not doing this, but it was a bit hard. Autoline is a really full featured software. It's newish, but it's very very innovative. It's got all the features that you will need to get you going. So this is the main body of my presentation, or the main thrust of our course. It's built on Autoline. And Autoline will produce the movements and produce the digital models with each movement, with the sequential movements that is required. As we then take those models and print them, we still make sequential aligners from the models. So we have to print those models in resin, and then from the models we do a suck down the conventional way. It may be surprising to those of you who don't know, but Invisalign, most of the labs still do it this way. In fact, I think all the labs do it this way. So they're still doing the push down on top of the model. It's the secondary 2 steps. Oops, right. And then we produce, and the last stage, of course, is that of this process is sucked out, and we actually then produce, trim out, and polish the trays. All right. So overall, this is the course that I'm going to do. We're going through all this, but today, because this is just like a teaser for you, I'm going to go straight into this part of the course. This is number 3, I think, of the preview course. And today I'm going to go straight into the Autoline. And I will probably just switch to the program a little bit. Now, the Autoline program, so that for those of you who haven't seen it from the beginning, will appreciate it a little bit. Excuse me, guys. There's one thing about Autoline, Kevin, it doesn't allow you to jump. Share, and where are you? All right, let's remove my face from all this. I presume you're looking at my, yeah. Okay, this is the AutoLine software, and I'm going to open up any case, just one of these ones here. And we've gone through now, for those of you who haven't seen it before, we've gone through where we've taken the models, we've segmented the two, we've gone through the situation where we've set up each of the case. Okay, straighten the T from here to here. Okay, and so as we work through these tabs on the top, now you're looking at this phase. Today we're looking at the modeler. And the modeler is where we come in and we take and we design those attachments. If this is the main body, AutoLine, the software is the main body of sequential aligners, then the backbone of sequential aligners are actually the attachment. That's the thing that makes this thing all possible to move. Excuse me. I have a drink break. Without the attachments, you couldn't do a lot of the things that you are able to do. Now, sequential aligners started in the late 90s, and when it first came out, you could only do very simple movements. Now, pretty much in the last 2 years, I haven't done anything but sequential aligners, and I've been doing fixed aligners since for over 24 years now. I did the POS course, and I really don't care to do fixed aligners, fixed appliances anymore if I can make them work with this one. And so far in the last 2 years, I've been quite successful in doing so. So there's a bit of a science to the attachment, but it's not hard. It's not hard, it's just that you don't know it yet. So part of the course is us going through and analyzing the established protocols. The established protocols are from Invisalign, but by no means is that set in stone, pun intended. You can do it their way, but once you understand how to use attachment, you can do it your way. And your way is actually, in my experience, if you know the person, you know what type of bone it is, and you know what type of movement it is, you can do a better job of it, and you can actually probably use better designs and better protocols. Because I think a protocol that's given one size fits all doesn't work as well as a protocol that you as a dentist, as a clinician, can pick for your patient. All right, this is a new case I'm working right now. I'm doing the presentation tomorrow, actually, so I'm actually working while I'm presenting to you. All right, so let me just show you. How do I decide where to put the attachment? At a previous slot over here, if I just go back one, when I did the movement of the teeth, there is a report, and the report generates a table, which I'm going to show you now, that looks like this. Okay. It shows you the Bolton analysis, which is, yeah, kind of useful if you're Caucasian. Apparently the stats are based on Caucasian, survey of Caucasian population. But most importantly for me, when I go through this, these are marked by me, by what I think is important. Okay. I'll go into this kind of analysis more in greater details in a course, but for today, I just want to have a look at this table. This is the summary of all the movements in the maxillary teeth. I go through and pick up all the ones that are significant. Now, for me, based on my experience with Invisalign, anything above 5 degrees, you want to tag. So I've gone through and tagged all these things, 5 degrees. So on the 1.7, there was minus 29 degrees of movement, etc., etc. And then I go through here for each one of them and decide, okay, this is a inside, outside movement, in and out movement. In a translation, that's significant, close to 1, close to integer value. In rotation, that's significant. But of the two, this is more significant. So when I designed the, for the 1.7, when I designed the attachment, it was more for rotation. So let's have a look. Sorry, modeler. This is my version of rotation. Okay, it is not the one that you might see routinely in Invisalign. It's very clear to me for a big tooth like this that I want to push here in distally. I want to push there nasally to get the rotation I want. So if I go backwards and forwards, that's another thing about deciding what to do. On paper, the numbers don't really tell me too much. It tells me, yes, it's significant, but it doesn't tell me, you know, like sometimes it says rotation, it's actually more translation. To me, when I do, actually, let me ask a quick question around. Who does sequential alignment? Who does Invisalign?
Not
No?
me.
No? Hey, everybody else, talk to me.
No.
Okay, so if you don't do it, you'll appreciate this. A presentation is given to you. They give you a recommendation. Is it right? Is it wrong? Well, you know, you'll find out in a couple of months. But for me, when I do my planning for the buttons, I like to do this. I like to move it around and say, actually, this is not, yeah, this is a rotation. This isn't a rotation. This is more translation. This is, I know this one's special because this is both direction. Okay. Anyway, it is part of this course for me to teach you how the mechanics of these work. So I'll go back now to, and before I go back, I might just put a button on here for you to show you how simple that is. So let's go back to quickly the, let's pick one. All right. Pick one, 12 degrees rotation, that's pretty good. So I'm gonna mark that 27. That's the one I wanna do. 227. And if you look at it, okay, it's turning positive. And what I want to do is add an attachment. This is my favorite one here.
Oh, Dr. Ho, may
Yeah.
I interrupt for a second? And,
Sure.
Dr. I'm trying to leave a chat message. And why
Oh.
there are 10 attachments on right-hand side alone, plateau and buckle, and there's a lot on to that side. And there is this question about this case.
Sorry, say, let me just read that. I didn't get you.
Okay, why are there 10 attachments on right-hand side alone? I mean, I guess he's talking about this case and attachment
Yeah.
inside. Is,
And just interrupt me, Anne, and talk to me. Because I was saying to you, no joke, this is a case I'm presenting tomorrow. So I'm halfway through, that's all. And I left the rest so that I could actually do it, in fact, and show you guys, right? So this is movements, I'll tell you a little while, it's like sliding mechanics, yeah? So I know this, basically the answer to your question is I was only halfway through this. And I didn't want to finish the whole thing so you can actually see me put one of these things on. Now, even without any sort of training, you can see that this is a rotation device. Okay. I don't think the concept of sequential aligners, once it's explained very simply, is actually very hard at all. I know I was very confused when I first learned it, like couldn't figure out what was moving, what was not moving, right? But it's to do with, okay, so that's, I just want to show you that first. It's as easy as that, put the buttons on, okay? Now let's go back to my presentation and I'll explain, I'll come back to this. Sharing screen, you share, let's go back to there. Share, I'll take my face off here again. sorry, Kevin, can you go through there and tell me any questions? Because I won't have time. I can't read that as I'm doing the presentation. Yeah.
Oh, yes. The question was about the case. About the case, and his question was, why are there 10 attachments on the right-hand side alone, palatal and buccal side?
Yeah. Okay, those are my protocol, and I'll explain to you that later. I can make that that thing look exactly like an Invisalign one too, but I don't find Invisalign protocol for rotation, especially molar rotation, very efficient, right? So when I try to turn something, I don't. If you try to turn something on one face, on a buccal face only, right? It's clearly more efficient if I grab it from both sides and turn it, right? And the torquing force moment is much more efficient. Okay, so. And I think I explained before on it's that why are there 10 attachments on one side? I started working on this and I stopped there and I thought, oh, I better finish this. I might as well finish this while I'm showing you guys what to do. I won't do the whole lot because, okay, why is this so many attachments? I don't have to do it all. It was kind of showing off. Okay, there's also a concept called layering that you might want to move certain teeth before others. I'll come back to this. Let me finish the presentation. I'll come back to that slide because you're on a different slide now, yeah? So this is AutoLine. I just wanted to make sure for those of you who haven't seen AutoLine before, that's the software, that's what it can do. And I will look at each of these slides, data views, each of these tabs when you go to the course, okay? So there's data, the view, the segmentation, the 3D setup, which is very good. And we are up to where you put the attachment, the modeler. So let's look at the modeler, which is the data view segmentation. This is the tab on the top of the software. We are to modeler. And as I mentioned before, when we do the modeling area, we take the report from the previous stage, from the 3D setup, tells you the rotation, tells you how to, which one requires what rotation, translation. And we use that to guide us as to how to put the attachments on. So I'll skip all these steps because today's presentation is about attachment. So let's talk about attachment. It is the most important. It is very, very important that you understand attachment. After understanding attachment, now I look at all my old cases or old things from Invisalign and look at them and go, huh, I can actually read those things and go, yeah, I know what you're trying to do now. But before it was just like, oh, puzzle, what is that? Yeah, it's not hard. It's actually very straightforward. So let me present to you what I think it can do. Okay, what are my explanation, my interpretation of buttons? First of all, let's start with a very basic. Buttons are attachments which are made from flowable resin stuck onto the tooth. Okay, there's a template for it. All these little things where you create a template and you stick in the tooth. They provide the handle, the ability. Let's not call it handle because I'll explain that why. It's not something that it grabs onto, but it provides the ability to control the movement of the teeth. Okay, AutoLine provides a whole plethora here. This is a sliding scale. There's more to slide down, which I'll show you later. And they're even more innovative than that. If you actually have a favorite design, well, if I do anyway, because I'm one of the key KOLs, I can actually say, hey, listen, can you make this design for me? Thus far, there's no point in reinventing the wheel. Unless, and I do have a design I want to try out, and maybe over the next 12 months, if I get results that comes out really good, really well, I will introduce it to you guys as well. But everything that you've seen around with all the other key players, it's there, it's available there, down a corridor, you slide up and down. My favorite one is that blue one, second row from the bottom. Okay, so a lot. For the beginners, just having a choice like that might seem a bit daunting, but after understanding the relatively simple concept of aligner tooth movement, these tools become very, very powerful, truly is. And for each individual tooth, most of that you probably use one or two of your favorite tools. But if it comes to a very difficult case, if you understand what you're doing, you can pick one of these fancy ones. As I said before, the attachment protocols are well established. But there's always more than one way to skin a cat. to quote that politically incorrect old saying. In our course, we start by analyzing the incumbent, the Invisalign protocol as a benchmark to start off with. And they've done a lot of things. Let me see, right? They've done a lot of things, a lot of the movements. As I said to you, learn that at the very least. That's your basics to start from. But because you have the tools, you can control. You drive manual, not automatic. In fact, using a third party, you're not automatic. You're a passenger in the car or a taxi, and you tell them where to go, but they drive. I say to you that doing it this way, you drive. Right? You're in better control. All right, let me start off. The key, very, very key basic thing. Okay, the very key basic thing. Of all the shapes that you see before, or the funny shapes, understand one thing. It's only the flat surface that's actually doing the work. All the rounded surface are just for sliding the thing in and out. No, they can't move because it's round. The teeth are round and teeth don't move. We put flat surfaces in, and those are the active surfaces. That's the key. That's the basic where you start from. Now, from there are two things you can do with the flat surfaces. You can slide down the surfaces, and these are all the primary movement, angular movement and translational movements, bodily movement. These are also the grouping that the autoline software uses: angular, rotating, tipping, talking, translating, mesiodistal, palatal, lingual, intrude, extrude, all the linear ones. They're grouped into three. These six movements are usually grouped like that. Sometimes they're not. I've been talking to them about grouping it better. But you either slide or you stop. And that's the key. You know, if I stop there and I say here, go home, come to the course, that's the key. There's actually only two things you do. You slide and you stop. And once you understand that, everything else that you have there is it's icing on the cake. Okay. What do I mean by that? Well, I'll try to explain quickly, but for the full solution, come and see us in the course. When you have a flat surface and you move the plastic doesn't grab the tooth and push it along. The plastic slides up, and the flat surface will then be forced to glide along the flat surface. That's how it moves. Right? So how do you do rotation then? Well, it's very simple. Angular moment. You push one way and you push this way, opposite direction. They're linear, but they rotate the tooth. Okay, hence my concept of using the palatal and the buccal, because the moment you're going to get is better. Yes, you can do it for all one side, but I put it to you that it's actually much better the other way. Same with extrusion, right? Rotation, extrusion, same thing. You can actually slide teeth out, okay? And similarly, intrusion, you can actually slide teeth in. Now, the other side of the protocol, and this will be simply the end of it, is that the stops that you put on are to counter the reactive forces. I mean, I borrowed this from Smart Stage because the extraction mechanics uses everything that you need to know. How to stop the maximum anchorage, how to stop this molar teeth from tipping, or to slide teeth backwards without the root staying behind, talking. These are all well within the simple concept of sliding and stopping. You want to stop this thing from tipping, you put a flat surface and you don't move the plastic, and the tooth will be inhibited from tipping over. There in a nutshell, right? So again, if I go back to my software to have a bit more fun on that side, I'll show you. And guys, any more questions, just ask directly, please. I'm not able to read your question while I'm presenting, so by all means, please interrupt me. Okay. Do you guys see any, do you see this? Okay. All right, are we back on autoline software, Kevin?
Yes, you can see AutoLine software now
Okay,
and
all right.
without attachments.
All right. So let me kind of stop this. You get the idea how you stick the button on. But let me just show you why this case is a non-extraction case. And again, the analysis of this takes too much time here to tell you. But she is borderline class 3. No, sorry, she's borderline. She's class 2, and very, very small jaw. And I have no room for an extraction on the top. I can, if it was class 3, I could take one out and 1 tooth down, and everything will be great, right? But I can't because she's actually. So there's no room for the teeth. But have a look at the amount of IPR, interproximal reduction, I have to do. Okay, she's very scared of extraction. She will not have an extraction. So I'm thinking, okay, fine, I'll do this case, but she'll have to accept that I'll try to minimize all this. 0.7 of a mil. Yeah, it's a lot, but it's not that much. Okay, look, but there's a lot of this IPR to be done. So I understand that the turning of this major tooth here, I'm not going to use the old protocol trying to rotate the tooth from the buccal side only. I'm going to do it from buccal and the palatal. I'm going to grab the tooth and turn it. And that's it's very, very possible. I've got a lot of success doing it that way. Okay. And also something else to note from here is if I show you the animation, this canine is entrapped, very, very badly entrapped. Okay. And in order to, one of the tricks in creating space in the upper, you notice derotating the molars gives you the space back. When you push everything back, space comes back. So derotating the 6 in this case and the 7, usually it's just the 6, derotating the 7 and the 6 is going to give me the majority of the space back. All right, so why am I having that much attachment here? Because this is not a simple case. And probably when I say I'm showing up, you know what, if you guys are just starting out, don't try to do cases like this first. One of the things I'll present to you is that there are so many of those cases that in your practice, 6 or 7 trays. But if you try to do it in the lab, case, the lab fee is prohibitively high. And I've never been able to land those cases as if you use third-party software labs. But if I say to them, look, it's between $800 to $1,000. Oh, really? Because they've heard before it was $3,000, $4,000 or $2,000. No, $850. And you can do so if you actually print this stuff yourself, do the work yourself. You can actually do it, and you can do it profitably. Instead of a one $10,000 case, you can do 10 $1,000 case, and it's actually much easier, much stress-free. So without going into the in-depth orthodontic side of things, if you just start doing sequential aligners just to pick up the little low-lying fruit, right? There's a lot of those, and it makes it worthwhile. In the course that I will teach, we will also look into how to manage these cases. One of the things that have occurred over the years as I'm doing ortho is that as we got busier, especially with fixed appliances, it took up too much of my GP, general practice, doing ortho because it wasn't very efficient, especially with fixed appliances. If a patient walks in and they pop the bracket, no, they pop 3 brackets. Oh my gosh, and you only book them in for 20 minutes to change a wire or half an hour to change a wire, and an hour later you're still trying to glue the bloody 5th bracket on. That doesn't happen anymore. But what will happen, I guarantee you this, and I've heard this many times before from our colleagues in America who've done this for a while now, is that as you get busy doing in-house sequential aligners, the first issue you're going to have is you have a capacity issue where you cannot keep up with your production. Thought we're a couple of steps ahead. We thought that through, and that's why, in partnership with CM Medical, they are able to take up that shortfall. Now, maybe printing isn't for you. You should try, because it's not expensive to do in-house printing. I mean, $200-300 printer can get you started. But say you're when you're quiet time, you print it yourself, and busy time comes up, and you've got 20-30 cases on your hands. Flick those to CM Medical, or upsize your team. That's what one of the American guys did. Well, you know, it's a big problem. It's a good problem to have, but I had to actually get more staff to do the work. I'm not advocating that one yet. I work now in the practice 5 dentists, and to step up the requirements, I will try to get one or two of the dentists doing it my way first, and then we can easily justify getting like somebody just making the sequential aligners. But all I'm saying to you is that this is very, very viable. It's fun. It's also fun. It also takes the control of the orthodontics back in your hand. It's not something, you know, like the Smile Club who's out there, you know, the people who are saying, send us your impression, send us your mold, and we'll give you the trace for 2004, irrespective. They're saying cut out the middleman, as if we as dentists are not required for the job. Well, we are required. So dangerous what they're doing. And if we do this properly, this is both rewarding professionally and financially. So I don't know what else I want to show you here. So I often do this to decide what is most important for us to do. Clearly, in this case, when I'm presenting this case to her tomorrow, I just want to show her from beginning to end. The attachment is kind of like something I just did for fun for you guys. When I actually do this case, I will also use another tool available to me here, is that I will direct traffic. I will say, don't try to stick this one, the canine, back into position until I've derotated, until I move this. It's called staging, right? And I'll stage the movement. I will actually say, move the back teeth first, get out of the way before you bring the forward one down. But for presentation, I still have to sell this case tomorrow. And this is a referral. I did the girlfriend, her friend, only like 6 months ago. And as you know, word of mouth gets around. All right. Any other questions, guys?
Oh, yes, we do have question from Dr. John Cowell. And what is the shape of the attachment? And why not different one? And how decide the precision position and angulations? That was a question from him.
Okay, fair question. That's a good question. So
We do have
you asked me a question which is in depth, but I'll give you as in depth and see if you can grab it, right? Trays are open at the end. The teeth goes inside, okay? It is the tightest closer to the apex, right? It is the closest adapted to the tooth. When we put the aligner in, it opens up. So it's the loosest near the cervical. So here's the dilemma. The moment is closest to the neck of the tooth where the bone is. If you try to move things in, it tips. Somewhere in between there is the sweet spot that we can use. If ideally, you would put the attachments movement as close to the gum as possible, but you're not going to get a tight fit using sequential aligners. That's another reason why I like to design my own aligners where it goes. So the position of the, let me go back here. So the position of the attachments, you know, right? It really should be as close to the gum as possible. Oh, sorry, I'm on the wrong page. Let me flick. Let me flick to my. Yeah, for some reason, Kevin, Are you seeing auto line again?
Yes, we can
Okay,
see the auto
so
line, and we can
these
see-
things are as somewhere halfway in between, too close to the cervical area, and the tray doesn't fit as tightly, right? Too far from there, and you get your two angular moments. I'm not too scared of that anymore when I do rotation. It is when you do linear motion that you have to actually be able to slide up and down. Now, here's the thing. When you do your own sequential aligners, you can afford to say, I want to do the rotation first, and then past a certain stage, I'll scrub that and then now put in the attachment to do something else. Seems like a lot of work, yes, but it's a lot more efficient. See, the way the third-party lab does things is because they don't want to do that for you, they want to give you 40 trays from beginning to end. That's kind of like stepping up to a par 5 golf hole and just thinking, I'm going to hit it once, and you know what? I'm going to get it in one go. You can't. I don't ever expect in cases, especially serious cases like this, to try to get it in one go. I will only ever pick 6 trays ahead, come back, assess, yeah, that's good, keep going. Yeah, let's keep going. Now, I don't Invisalign call it refine, where they scan again. I don't have to do that very often, but I also don't waste 30 trays, making 30 trays that won't fit because something stopped tracking. All right. So the answer to your question is somewhere, not obviously not at the tip, but somewhere close to the middle and above, so that you can get the tray to sit tightly around the tooth. Now, also clearly, see this one here, it's off the middle. Why didn't I put it on the top there? Because this tooth here primarily is being extruded. I don't want to do any rotation here yet. I want to extrude. And here you can see everything's been pushing all these, the premolars and the molars backwards. Okay. And from the inside, it's pushing this side forward. Hence, it's a rotation. Okay. And you notice that I've got push distal, push mesial on the pedal, but the 4, have you noticed the 4 is push distal and distal both sides? Why? Because even though it says rotation, when I did the movement, I said, it's not rotating, it's actually going forward. But the software sees it as a rotation. They're both going backwards. It's just being pushed back. Okay. So you can't really just fly by the numbers. Okay. I use the movement, look at it, and kind of like think a little bit about it. So, well, that's not rotating, it's more being pushed backwards. And that's why when you see the 7, the 6, the 5, they're rotating anti-clockwise. But the 4 is actually just being distalized. Okay, does that explain it? I haven't finished it yet, in case you're wondering. And if you think this one's got lots of buttons, so while I wait for your question, let me just show you. Let me just show you a case that is my record when it comes to yeah.
Dr. Ho, and
Yeah.
do you, before we go, and do you have, seems like Dr. Antran, want to see the profile frontal photo of the previous case?
The profile.
Yes, also Dr. Antran, and you can unmute and you can speak freely and feel free to, raise question. This is the, the main reason why we want to have like, interactive discussion.
And speak to me. Hello. So you want to see the profile shot? Is that correct?
Dr. Antran, you are on mute, and would you try?
Is he still on mute? I think he just left the table.
Oh, his microphone's not.
Yeah,
Okay,
seems
so
like
one
there's
of the
Wi-Fi.
value-added things I'm going to teach you guys how to use. Okay, let me share with you something without seeming to share. These are all my currently active cases. this software called ClickUp. It's free to download and use. Yeah. But these, I don't know how many there is. These are all my active cases. And there's a lot. So each one of these things is like a mini project. If you do not, if you do half a dozen cases, fine, for you just use your brains. But when you start getting 20 cases going at once, you need to also have this backing. I may just show off a little bit and tell you guys that I have an IT background. So the systems I put in place, if we don't have this in place, I couldn't possibly scale what I'm doing now up. And if you still, are you there? I'm going to show you something which I didn't do yet. I'm going to do right now.
It seems like here's a microphone issue. So
Originally,
his question was, I am interested in your babbling. Is it directed towards the occlusal? And that was his question. And next question was, do you have profile frontal photo?
So what was it? He's interested in what?
The babbling, the
Babbling.
design of
Yeah.
And
Good,
also,
good. Very good question.
Does it have to directed towards the occlusal? That was his question.
Right. Now, if you got the first part when I said to you, everything is about slides. Okay. So if you want the tooth to go in a certain direction, you want the slide that you're creating to slide in the direction you want to go. So the flat or the raised part of your wedge is the direction that you want to go into, because you're sliding up that hill. It's not down, it's up. Because from the survive, wherever you are, if you move your plastic away from it, sorry, I don't have that slide ready yet to show you. So in your wedge, the bit that's raised is where you are pushing your tooth towards. Does that make sense? I'll try to show you a picture in a little while. But give me 1 second, and then I'm trying to answer your second question. And while I'm doing so, I'm going to show off this software. I used to think this was a bit of a gimmick, but I actually quite like it. It's a good selling point. So let's have a look. Profile. You wanted to see the initial and my finish point. It's not too bad. It's not too right. So that was the initial position. I haven't protruded here that much. I hope that answers your question. Yes, I got pictures as well, but the pictures are harder to analyze than this. This is actually quite good to analyze. I like it. Right? 2-dimensional superimposing 3, but it's actually quite useful. And if none of you have done ortho before, it's also strongly emphasized later on. If you do the full course, that I will talk to you about taking preoperative records, photography, the mandatory shots that you have to take, self-analysis, at least to cover your butt. And I always take Ceph to cover my butt. Do I always use it? Almost never. I hate Cephs. I think the points that you draw, it gives you an idea, it gives you a clue, which even as a trained dentist, you can actually already decide. And I don't have to do the horrific cases. Those horrific cases are what specialists are for. So the cases I do them for, well, I do them for all the cases because I know I have to cover my butt dental legally. And there's still people out there, specialists out there that's kind of wanting to get you into trouble. We do this, and we are very, very diligent in doing so, so that we make sure that we cover ourselves. Right, so I have pictures, but without going into those pictures, let me see, have I uploaded it? She just started last week, so I haven't uploaded it too. I have, let me see. Again, a lot of photos are available, but I haven't necessarily. Let's just see if this guy is finished. All right, a diastema case. Can you guys see this? Kevin?
Yes, we can see
Okay.
the website.
Right. So these are the pre-orthodontic record, anterior open case. It's such a shame. I took the photos today. So we didn't start this 2021, January. So that's what, 9 months in, all diastemas are closed. He's still got has a little bit of open bite because I think we still have a tongue thrust. And we have a little bit of diastema here still, which I'm struggling to keep. And I'm putting him on some tongue exercise to stop this. But yeah, it's not so awesome when I don't have a shot to follow up. I actually take a lot of photos when I was doing fixed appliances. I have a lot of photos with fixed appliances because in fixed appliances, every time they come in, you can see the wire straightening up. I couldn't think of a reason to take clear ones because you can't see anything. So you take them a few, well, you can't see the wires changing, but in this case, you can actually see the gaps close. So this is what, 9 months? I predicted, I said to them that I can try to do it before Christmas, and I'm finishing right, much earlier before Christmas. But if you'll allow me, I will do some finishing, and in fact extrude his teeth even more than I had planned to. So if you actually now look at this case, let's see if they have it here. Yes, I do. Okay. That was him. Okay. So what I sold him the case without touching the lower 7. Layer 1, this is showing off layering. We're kind of off the topic for the night anyway, just showing off a little bit with what software can do. And I said, look, your teeth is barely out of the gum back there. I won't be able to touch it. I won't even try. But just for the exercise, I actually went through and did it. We are finished at this stage. And with the first stage, I finished it with 17 trays, top and bottom. Right, 18, 9 months, exactly. How I calculate that, for each tray is about 2 weeks, right? So say round up 17 to 18 divided by 2, that's 9 months. And he's pretty much there. It's pretty much there. Just one diastema still open here. And what I did for that was I didn't do anything more. I printed the last tray again. Another trick I'll tell you. We'll talk all about that, about the selection of the plastic, the thickness of the plastic we'll use. Any more questions? interestingly, I'll tell you, for an experiment in this case, and I told the patient that, so it wasn't without knowledge. I said, I'm going to try to do this case because mainly it was all anterior flat teeth without any buttons. I closed the spaces without any buttons. Now, what I didn't fully, I think, realized all the way through, or managed to get, is the full extrusion that I wanted. It extruded. By tipping the tooth downwards, it always extrudes. But if I have had a slide in there, as I'm tipping it down, it would have gone down even, wouldn't be fully expressed. So if you will allow me, I will actually probably say, give me maybe 3 or 4 more trays, and I will pull those front teeth down a little bit for finishing. But I have a feeling they're so happy with it, they're going to stop. Okay. Any further questions?
Not at this moment. And
John asked the question about the attachment before, right, John? And I hope I think I answered that one already. Sorry, I'm looking at the.
and feel free to unmute the mic and talk to, ask the question to Dr. Michael directly.
Hey, come on, guys! I can't even see you. It's too dark. Turn your lights on.
Another question from Dr. Khan Rabi. And Dr. Rabi asked you, and do you also course to understand treatment planning?
Yeah, yes. I mean, basically, that's why I was saying to you that this is a fantastic way to do ortho, I can tell you. When you do ortho fixed appliance, and I did POS, that's a 2-year course, and the planning you do is the wires, blah, 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 you're kind of guessing where you think it's going to be. Right? I mean, we're guessing with this one too, but we're guessing digitally. So if it's there, if it's not there, you know straight away, but the tray just won't fit. Yes, by doing these movements, and I don't mean just willy-nilly moving them around, right? This is why I don't understand when Invisalign does it and they send it to all the South American countries, all the Santas, Santa Barbara, San Diego, all those places where they get labor to do this. They're not dentists, and they say they have orthodontists. They have orthodontists overseeing difficult cases. Majority of the cases cannot be done by dentists. It's just not worth their while. But when you move these teeth, you are in fact understanding the treatment planning. Yes. The short answer to your question, Khan, is yeah, of course we do, because we don't just move this tree so it looks good. Okay, there is a function in this software where you draw a line, a curve, and you draw a few things, and you hit a button, and everything is done automatically. It's rubbish. It looks good. Actually, it doesn't look good. That's why it's rubbish. It just moves teeth everywhere to align to a certain figure. I'll show you that some other time, because I think this is a waste of time. But in practicality, like this case here, I'm showing, this is the same one, no, not Russian, the one before, where I'm doing so many IPRs. I know she's shaking in the boots at the sound of extracting. So, well, if we don't extract, there's a lot more interproximal reduction to be done. Again, for those uninitiated with sequential aligners, when I first did sequential aligners with Invisalign, and I did probably about 60 cases with them before I gave up on the practicality side, is that sequential aligners require, or used to at least require, a lot of interproximal reduction. A fancy way of saying you've got to reduce the size of your tooth. That's why the Bolton analysis was very important, which was basically saying how they fit into each other, how much space you have. And you get more and more comfortable with reducing those teeth, those spaces between, right? And when you understand, when you appreciate that we're talking about 0.5 of a mil, 0.7 of 1 mil in between two teeth, you divide it by 2, it's not that. Right? It's certainly a lot less, I think, everything that we do to people's teeth, we drill when we bond brackets and etch the tooth, we kind of semi-damaging the tooth. I know, we pretend it's not, but we are. But you know, it's for the cost to benefit. What we do with sequential aligners, we put a few bond attachments on. Yeah, okay, not as much as every single tooth in bracket, and and we reduce teeth in between. Yep, those are the things that we have to do. What do we get for that? We align teeth, we make teeth easier to maintain, we give the cosmetic effect that we want. We do so also without all the food traps, all the problems that's built into, incumbent into fixed appliances. And then, as I mentioned before, from a practicality point of view, when, think about fixed appliances. I spent 2 years and a lot of money doing POS course. So as soon as I finished, or even before I finished, I was putting on cases, And yes, as soon as I got successful, I realized, oh my goodness, all my afternoons are now doing bonding brackets back on again. It became a little bit of a drawback. Whereas with sequential aligners, what's the worst that can happen? You broke your appliance. Don't worry, come back next week. And it doesn't kill it. Your chair time, the flow of your general practice goes really well. Now, to encourage you even more, have a look at all the main courses, the POS, the EODO, Derek Mahoney, all the big main courses, they're all doing sequential aligners now. Now, the difference between their course and the one we're trying to develop is we don't have to be aligned to any third-party lab. You can do it yourself. But if you do need some backup, because when you're too busy, CM Medical is right next to you to take up the slack for you, right? But I do encourage one thing, even if you don't do any of the printing yourself, because there's a bit of work involved with that. Just doing this part, just using the auto line and just understanding the concept, that is the key to success. And the other thing about it is too, I can turn around a case overnight if required. What I mean by that is I can scan a case, do what I got to do, an hour and a half, next day back, present the case. I can then produce those models for you, in fact, overnight as well, if required. The way that labs usually work is, I don't know, this line used to take about 2 weeks to get back. Maybe they're good now, this 1 week. And then you go, yeah, I approve this, I adjust this, but it takes another week to get to and from, And the time you take to do all that, it's a lot of time. The lag between when you say, I want to do this until you get it back is, for me, annoying. It makes you lose your train of thought. So when I treat 30 patients, I can still control everything with that software I was talking about before, and also the fact that everything is fresh in my mind. I say, yeah, I'm going to do this, bang, bang, bang. 2 weeks, come back, we've got it done. Next week, it's done. Or come back tomorrow. That's really important. I'll do it tonight for you. Bang, it's done. So you get that sort of control. You get that sort of feedback.
Dr. Ho, and before we go, and would you be able to introduce the next topic like in a preview Zoom seminar?
You got that slide up again?
Now we can see your website. Yep. Okay. Do you want me to share mine?
Yes. I'll stop sharing it. Go.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Yes. When you come to our website, cmmedical.com medical.com.au, and on the right, because I just make it a little bit larger. On the right hand side, there is top corner, and there is a news and updates. And use and updates, there is a section about adaptive orthodontics. In here, there is a next previous seminar topic will be printing and aligner fabrication. And 2nd of November, and Dr. Ho will cover the how to print and about the fabrication process and his know-how and a little bit detail, right?
Yeah, there's nothing real technical there. This was my breakdown of our hands-on course, right? Really, that part of it should really be tangible and hands-on. You can see that whole thing working. But I'll go through the theory of 3D printing for those of you uninitiated in the area. We use DLP, light printing, resin printing. And I'll go through that concept a little bit. That's a pretty easy one. If you haven't seen it before, it's really interesting. The aligner fabrication, any of you that make your own mouth guard or your own bleaching tray in-house, it's basically the same thing, except we've got the production line working, quite very efficiently. A few things there that will save a lot of money. A few tricks there to make this commercially viable to do it inside a house. It is definitely commercially viable, but even more so. That's what the next one is about. The actual difference in our course and any other course is we're going to print it ourselves. Right, and just while we're at it, because it's right in front of you, the last one is what I alluded to. By the time you get hooked on this, and you will get hooked on this, so easy to get hooked on, because you'll start selling cases. Yeah, I want to do that for you. Yeah, fine. Let me do it for you. Well, yeah, $600. Yeah, let's do it. Those cases add up. All right. And if you're doing it very efficiently and without any stress, that's the other thing too. Without any stress, social sixes can be done really, really quickly. You will start getting a lot of cases. You will. And word will get around. Oh yeah, you don't pay that much. Such and such. And I'm not talking about undercutting your thing. You're going to make money doing it. It's just that you're not paying a lab fee. Okay, you're not paying a big lab fee to the likes of Invisalign and